the big deal, of course. You can tell from the artwork already what kind of card this is, because obviously it is another Mulcharmy. And at this point, they have released, or they are about to release, the third Mulcharmy in a set in a row. So every single main set for the past 3 has had a Mulcharmy in it. So they have indeed become a little bit of an archetype. That begs the question, are there going to be more? Because they have been they've been switching it up with the attribute, similar to how there was a Ghost Sister for, I think there's a Ghost Sister for every attribute, right? So maybe they're going to make Mulcharmies for every attribute, right? We have Purulia for water, Fuvalos for wind, and now we have Niarus, Mulcharmy Niarus as an earth monster. And this one, obviously, we don't have to read it all the way through because it works exactly like all the other Mulcharmies, right? The same limitation, only one other Mulcharmy effect on the turn. No cards on your field. Discard it. And now the condition on when you draw for this one is every time your opponent special summons a monster from the graveyard or the banishment, immediately draw 1. And then it has the same end phase effect, which I have no idea who came up with this, but they might as well have left this one off because this one does not matter at all. We could have saved a whole bunch of text if they just left this one off. Has anyone, genuine question right now, chat, has anyone ever managed to get this effect off in the end phase? I've never seen it. I've seen it one time. That's crazy. Okay. In the OCG, it can be possible. I guess in a world where there's Maxx C as well. Sure. I guess. Yeah. When Maxx C is in the mix, sure. Okay. If you get Maxx C and Fuvalos, maybe. But okay. Anyways, not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about how good this card is. Because obviously so far the first 2 Mulcharmies are both very meta relevant. Mulcharmy Purulia as a side deck staple almost instantly when it came out until this day, and Mulcharmy Fuvalos is even making its way into a decent amount of main decks. Not every deck is main decking Fuvalos right now, but it is a very popular card. This one, in my opinion, since this was announced a couple days ago and I have already seen it, I've had some time to think about it. I think this card is gonna have a very hard time making it into the main deck, simply because summoning from grave and banished is something that some decks do a lot and some decks don't do it at all, right? It's not like a Purulia where every deck normal summons, or like a Fuvalos that is also good against, like, I don't know, 80% of decks. This one is more like, I think this card is higher risk, higher reward. Like, against some matchups, this is going to be absolutely incredible, whereas against others, it's going to be completely useless, which screams side deck card to me, right? This screams like the kind of card that if there is a deck in the format that's weak to this card, you're going to put this card in your side deck, and it's going to be pretty strong, right, for those matchups. But only for going second, of course, like all the Mulcharmies, which is a huge balancing factor in all of these, is that you can't just use them when you're going first against whatever, Malice. Ritual Beast is another deck that struggles under this card, even though Ritual Beast also struggles under, Ritual Beast literally gets destroyed by every single Mulcharmy in existence, which is funny. Like, every single, like, because Ritual Beast just does it all, right? Summons from the extra deck 20 times, normal summons 5 times, summons from banished pile 20 times, like, they get owned by every single version of the Mulcharmies. But this card is good. Long story short, this is a good card. It is, I think, out of the 3 Mulcharmies that are out now, or that will be out after Supreme Darkness, I think it is the one with the least main deck potential, simply because Purulia and Fuvalos, they have a better coverage, right? They hit more decks, but this card is still a side deck option. As soon as it releases, every single format, you're going to look at the decks in the format and you're going to ask yourself, what decks could I cite this card for? And it's going to be, sometimes you're going to play it, sometimes you're not going to play it, right? There's going to be formats where the best couple decks don't play into this card, so you're not going to side deck it. And then there's going to be formats where it's really good against a couple decks and you're going to have it. which is fine in my opinion. I design wise, I have no issues with this card. Even the decks, I think for the most part, you can always think of a deck that completely dies to a card. But like in recent times, I can't think of many decks that really get destroyed by this, right? Like it's like summoning from grave and banished is something that I think most decks, they can get away with just doing this like once or twice maybe. Like it's really only I feel like Malice is something that I could think of that would suffer from this a lot in upcoming sets, right? Cyber's extra deck spam, right? With their Sigma, Splash Mage, Transcode Talker, that kind of stuff, Link Decoder, that kind of, which you know my opinion about that. I'm not too mad about that one. I am not too mad about that one. No, I think this is fine. I think this card is fine. I think I am mostly interested in seeing like I wish we could fast forward and just see what the I mean I'm guessing there's going to be a fire Mulcharmy, a light Mulcharmy, and a dark Mulcharmy, and I'm just interested in seeing what those will do, right? Because at this point I feel like we've covered all the special summoning from anywhere, right? We have summon from hand, summon from graveyard, summon from banished, and summon from deck and extra deck. So the future Mulcharmies, they would have to have something else, right? We'd have to tie it to other conditions, not just summoning, right? Like maybe every time the opponent sets, so we cover the trap decks, I guess, is something. Yeah. Every time a card gets, I don't know, banished. Every time a card, I don't know what would happen. What else could there even be, right? Drawing from a token special summon, that would just be incredibly niche, right? Like they could make a Mulcharmy that works a little bit like Shared Right, even though maybe that's a little bit too powerful if you can Shared Right when you go second, right? Whenever your opponent adds, right? That's technically a card that they've done before, but as a quick play spell card, which has been incredibly powerful in some formats. I don't know if that would be too much of a power creep on a card like Shared Right, right? Every time your opponent shuffles their hand, yeah. I mean, at some point they're gonna make a divine Mulcharmy that's just gonna make it like every time your opponent breathes, and then they either have to pass their turn or die. Divine Mulcharmy equals Maxx C, yeah. They just reprint Maxx C with a different artwork. Oh no, this card's fine. The Earth Mulcharmy is fine, I think. Maxx C surely gets banned, right? Look. This is the third Mulcharmy now, and we've been coping that since the first Mulcharmy. At this point, it is something that only time will tell. At this point, I mean, they've put it to 2 in the OCG, so we are on the journey, you know. At some point, I'm hoping it goes to 0, but we'll have to wait and see. I personally still believe in it. I do believe so. Yes, I think Maxx C is gonna get banned in the OCG at some point, but it might not be. It might take a while, right? When will these come to Master Duel? I have no idea. No idea. The Master Duel release schedule is very loose and very much. They are not tied to any TCG or OCG releases at all. They just like decide when they want, right? Like some archetypes we get incredibly fast in Master Duel. Some archetypes we get very late. In the specific example of, for example, Promethean Princess, we got it in Master Duel before we got it in the TCG, right? Like it was like what, like a week or two. Yeah, there's no or Volcanics. Yeah, Volcanics just came out in the TCG and it was out in Master Duel for like 6 months or something. So it's hard to say. Whenever they feel like it is the thing, right? And then I do think that whatever happens to Maxx C in the OCG, which is why I care about it so much, whatever happens to Maxx C in the OCG, I think will happen to Maxx C in Master Duel. I think that is what we're in for, is that OCG and Master Duel have always been kind of close. Not exactly the same, but I think with Maxx C they're gonna take the same approach if it works out in OCG. Snake Eyes Dio Bellstar is still missing in Master Duel. Yeah, see that one, that's a decision I can get behind though. That's a decision I like because they like Snake Eyes have already been dominant enough. I feel like I feel like what they did with Snake Eye Dio Bellstar was just like, yeah, we could add this card, but I think Snake Eyes is already powerful enough, so we're not gonna do it. And I'll be honest with you, I wish that's what they did in the TCG as well with Snake Eyes. I wish they also went like, you know what? Maybe this Snake Eye Dio Bellstar card doesn't need to exist. Maybe the deck is fine. Varudras as well. They're doing the same with Yubel. Yeah, they're like, I think they're purposely like not releasing Varudras while Yubel is that powerful because it's all. I mean, Yubel is not in trouble in Master Duel. It is completely fine. It's a good deck, and it does not need Varudras in Master Duel to compete.